Well, it looks like I had a little problem with this battery, and this is actually a old battery that's huge for this car. It's a Walmart Max, but it's huge. 750 cranking amps, whatever the hell it is. 860 cranking amps, whatever. It's pretty damn big. I got this other one here. I don't know if it's going to fit, but I'm going to jam it in there as best I can. This is actually a deep cycle battery, which you're not really supposed to use that for cars, but this thing is so damn huge, it ain't going to have a problem anyway. But what I'm going to do in the future, I tried charging this up with this Schumacher speed charger, you know, electronically controlled crap, and I don't know what the hell deal would happen. It might have a short in it or something, but what I'm going to do though is I'm going to put it on a special battery minder trickle charger. It's one that's designed for desulfating the plates. I'm going to try that first, and just so I can probably loosen up some junk on the plates. But this battery, I ordered some Loom solution. It's a pickle juice. I'm going to try to make it into a non-lead acid battery. Now, normally that works great if you're starting out with a good battery, but it's iffy if you are starting out with a bad battery. But I'm going to try a few tricks on this. But in the meantime, I want to see if this bad boy fits inside. This other one fits inside this El Camino. The width is right, but the height is higher, and it's actually even this longer this way. This battery should actually, the stock battery should come up to about here. This one's way longer by this much, and the one that's going in here is going to be out to here, so it's going to have a lot of power. Even though it's a deep cycle, it's going to have a hell of a lot of power. Now, the fast way I clean out the inside of these terminals is I use this drill attachment, very lightly though, but it's shiny metal now, and it's a slightly rough surface, and I'll put a little bit of dielectric grease on there to make sure it doesn't get corroded, and but like using a little drill attachment, it's a lot faster. And to clean these top posts, I use this wheel on here, which goes like that. This doesn't take nothing, and it's a hell of a lot better job than doing it by, you know, scraping it off by hand. But you know, if you don't have any tools, you know, the best thing to use to clean all that stuff off is just a plain pocket knife. I remember this guy that was a mechanic. His name was Bucky. He used to have an old pickup truck. He used to pick up all these engines with. The bed was all wavy and stuff like this. And he taught me a bunch of tricks like that. You just use a pocket knife. You don't need no special tools. But I had the drill handy, and that's the best thing to use. Besides doing it with the pocket knife, it takes a little longer. And it looks like my rust proofing job on this battery tray I did back in 2008 when I put a battery in here is still holding up. There was a lot of heavy rust on here, and I used special heavy enamel. Oh, actually it was rust killing primer. So I'm going to put this worn out piece of rubber thing over this, and that should be okay. And the way I fit the battery in here is I just bent this piece down so the edge doesn't hit it, but it's in there tight enough where it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, this huge ass battery is in here, so it fit. And what I did, actually I noticed the positive cable had bare metal showing on there. I was like, wow, it wasn't close to shorting out anything, but I put some Gorilla Tape around it, and then made sure since the Gorilla Tape doesn't unravel, use the cable tie, you know. The wrong way, the right way. How's that? I mean, more or less not, well, I don't know, old school shit to make it work for now. I should change that cable. That's been in there. I got this car back in 1991, and I never changed that cable. It was good, but probably need a new one. And on the top of these, also on the terminals and inside them and on top, I used dielectric grease, this stuff here, and so to keep it from you know, corroding. It's good stuff. A lot of times they put it on top of the terminals, but you can put this right where it makes contact, because it squeezes out the grease and it gets in where all the air voids are, or water, so no corrosion can get in there. Now this thing was so huge, you look down here, there's comes pretty close to this piece of metal. Now, even though this thing is in here nice and tight, it's in here solid, right? You can't budge it. You know, it's in there. But say it moved over just a hair when you're driving, you know, possibly that piece of metal bracket would rub through it. So what I did was, now that piece of wood is coming out of there, but what I did was I used emblem adhesive, which is oil and gas resistant. I took a piece of heater hose, I cut it open, and I glued the heater hose to the metal, and I chemically cleaned everything before I glued it. So I got the piece of wood in there holding it on there like that, nice and tight, so when it dries it'll be on there. Now that's emblem adhesive, plastic emblem adhesive. This stuff, when you stick an emblem on the car on the outside on the weather, and when you wash the car and all this kind of crap, it stays on there for a good 10 years at least. So that's not going to come loose. So it's rubber on metal, just like emblem adhesive is designed for. And I chemically cleaned that whole damn thing, and so once that dries on there, that piece of rubber will protect the edge of the battery from rubbing through. So should be fine. Should be fine. Now on this other battery, what I'm going to do is, I got this a long time ago when it first came out. I think I got this in 2002, 2003. That's called a battery minder. I got enough light on there or something, but that's called a battery minder. And the red light means it's charging, and the green light, once the green light starts flashing, that's when it's on a full charge and it starts desulfating the plates. Now, I'm not going to try to bring this battery back with this battery minder, but what I'm going to do is try to get the plates desulfated enough where then I'm going to dump it out, I'm going to leave it upside down, I'm going to rinse it out, I'm going to use baking soda treatment a bunch of times. I'm going to try I might even try vinegar, then baking soda, then distilled water, clean it out really good. Then I got the loom on the way, which is the pickle juice, and I got 2 pounds of this stuff. So if it doesn't succeed the first time, I'm going to try it a few times because I'm curious if you can bring these old batteries back. This would be pretty wild, and just an experiment. But once you got this loom type setup, the pickle juice type battery, it will basically last like 10 years easy. 10 years easy, and you could discharge it a hell of a lot more than you can a regular battery without ruining it. So, but it may not work because this battery is not holding a charge. It usually works, the conversion works good on batteries that are not damaged, but I'm curious if I could bring this back. I'm just curious about that, and we'll find out in a couple weeks. It's going to take me that long to mess around with, you know, all this stuff before I can figure it out. But in the meantime, got one used ass, even though this is a deep cycle battery, it's so freaking huge that it will crank this car over like nothing. I mean, the battery that came with this car was about from here to here, that size. This thing is a monster and a half. So even though it's not designed for starting cars, it's got a ridiculous amount of power for this thing. Plus, you can deep cycle charge it too. So it's a good battery.